This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice. Dear listeners, now we start English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
We present the immortal revolutionary paean, song of General Kim Il-sung. Here is the immortal revolutionary paean, song of General Kim Jong-il.
You're listening to VOK, the Voice of Korea News Now. The Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea highly appreciated the combat subunits of the armed forces of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea for performing heroic feats in the operations to repulse and frustrate the grave sovereignty infringement by the Ukrainian authorities, who invaded the territory of the Russian Federation and completely liberate the occupied area of Kursk region. The Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea clarified as follows in its written stand sent to Rodong Sinmun and the Korean Central News Agency on April the 27th. The operations for liberating the Kursk area to repel the adventurous invasion of the Russian Federation by the Ukrainian authorities were victoriously concluded. The subunits of our armed forces, which participated in the operations for liberating the Kursk area, according to the order of the head of state of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, fully demonstrated their high fighting spirit and military temperament and made an important contribution to annihilating the Ukrainian neo-Nazi forces and liberating the territory of the Russian Federation by displaying mass heroism, matchless bravery, and self-sacrificing spirit. It is a source of pride for our state and a greatest dignity for our people to have such excellent soldiers. The victorious conclusion of the operations for liberating the Kursk area is a victory of justice over injustice, and at the same time a new chapter of history which demonstrates the highest strategic level of the firm militant friendship between the DPRK and Russia, and the alliance and fraternal relations between the peoples of the two countries. The Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea extends the warmest and most ardent congratulations to the commanding officers of the Special Operations Group and all officers, non-commissioned officers and soldiers of the combat subunits who defended the precious honor of our army and performed immortal feats to be recorded in golden letters in the history of the development of the DPRK-Russia relations. The reckless military moves of the hostile forces that violently infringed upon the national sovereignty and security of Russia, the fraternal country, constituted a threat to the accomplishment of the common cause of the DPRK and Russia for realizing international justice and defending global peace against imperialist high-handed and arbitrary practices, and a grave challenge to the militant friendship and unity between the armies and peoples of the two countries. On the basis of the analysis and judgment that the prevailing situation conformed to the invocation of Article 4 of the Treaty on Comprehensive Strategic Partnership concluded between the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the Russian Federation, Comrade Kim Jong-un decided on our armed forces' participation in the war, informed the Russian side of it, and in accordance with agreement issued an order of the Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea to combat subunits of the armed forces of the Republic to annihilate and wipe out the Ukrainian neo-Nazi occupiers and liberate the Kursk area in cooperation with the Russian armed forces. While making the decision on making the combat subunits of our armed forces participate in the war, Comrade Kim Jong-un defined it as a sacred mission for further consolidating as firm as a rock the traditional friendship and solidarity between the DPRK and Russia, guaranteeing the development and prosperity of the two countries and defending the honor of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The military activities of the armed forces of the Republic conducted within the territory of the Russian Federation fully conform to all the provisions and the spirit of the UN Charter and other international laws and the Treaty on Comprehensive Strategic Partnership between the DPRK and Russia, and served as a good example and excellent paradigm of the most faithful expression of action to implement them. Under the order of the head of state, the subunits of the armed forces of the Republic regarded the territory of Russia as the one of their own country and proved the firm alliance between the DPRK and Russia and recorded legendary tales of military feats with their high will of defense, do-or-die spirit, and practical combat actions accompanied by sacrifice. On the occasion of the liberation of Kursk, Comrade Kim Jong-un specially stressed the following: "They who fought for justice are all heroes who represent the honor of their motherland." In commemoration of the heroism and bravery displayed by the proud sons of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a monument to their battle feats will soon be erected in our capital city, and before the tombstones of the fallen soldiers, flowers will be laid as a token of the motherland and the people praying for their immortality. The fighting spirit and heroism of the soldiers who demonstrate the great name of the powerful and the glory of the victors will shine forever on the high platform of respect and honor generation after generation. The motherland should hand down forever the soul of the soldiers who fought to defend its great honor, and take important state measures to specially and preferentially treat and take care of the families of the brave soldiers who participated in the war. The head of state of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea said that he extends warm militant greetings to the Russian army and people who won a great victory. The government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea regards it as an honor to have an alliance with such a powerful state as the Russian Federation, and is pleased that the participation of the subunits of our armed forces in the war has further strengthened the militant ties between the two countries and contributed to Russia's conducting of special military operations. The Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea is convinced that the invincible militant friendship between the two countries, verified at the cost of blood in the flames of battles, will greatly contribute to expanding and developing the future relations of friendship and cooperation between the DPRK and Russia in all aspects, and affirms on the authorization of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and the government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea that it will invariably and fully support the sacred cause of the Russian army and people in the future too, and remain faithful as ever to any action based on the spirit of the DPRK-Russia Treaty.
The respected Comrade Kim Jong-un sent a kind prayer to war veteran Moon Myun-ki living in Kisandi of Umpa County on the occasion of the centenary of his birth. Officials of the Umpa County Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and villagers shared joy with the family members and relatives of the Macrobian. Active efforts are made at different units to produce quality goods. The employees of the Sinuiju textile mill are producing a large amount of cloth by introducing effective working methods according to the layout of equipment. Tens of operators have carried out their first half-yearly quarters through the brisk mass movements, including the multi-spindle, multi-loom tending campaign, and the number of the innovators is on the increase. The Pyongyang Plastic Building Materials Factory pushes ahead with the technical development, thus increasing the production on all indices while lowering the norm of consumption per unit of output. The factory also solved a number of technical problems, including the manufacture of a new small plastic extruder, boosting the productivity 1.2 times as against before. The regional industry factories, newly built in 20 cities and counties, are operating the equipment at full capacity in all production processes, while concentrating main efforts on expansion of varieties and improvement of their quality. The foodstuff factories produced different kinds of foodstuffs in April, which are much more than last month. The daily necessities factories in Kim-hyung-jik, Ushi, and Dongsin counties make innovations in the production of various kinds of plastic goods and woodenware every day. The garment factories in different cities and counties, including Songchun and Yuntan counties, direct effort to the development of new products, turning out various forms of clothes suited to the fancy of the local people. Pyongyang municipalities preserving the historical sites, scenic spots, and natural monuments properly. The repair of the earthen wall of Anak Palace and the masonry work of tons of old ponds and the arrangement of the surroundings are underway in the area of Mount Taesong. The Rangnam Museum repairs parts of the ancient tombs, earthen wall and grooves and takes good care of them. At the same time, it conducts the work to ensure tourism and visit in contact with the units concerned. Mangyongdae and Yongseong District, Gangdong County and other districts and counties also preserve the historical sites, scenic spots and natural monuments in their regions well. The Nampo City Spring Amateur Riders Competition took place at the Nampo City Riding Club, wonderfully built as a mass riding service base, on the 27th. The competition brought together amateur riders selected from the districts and counties in the city. It was watched by officials, working people and youngsters in the city of Nampo. The spectators gave a warm hand to the riders who are greeting the prosperity and civilization of the new era under the care of the Workers' Party of Korea that realizes all dreams and ideas of the people. At the awarding ceremony, rankings of teams and events were announced and prizes awarded.
And that's the end of the news. This is VOK, the voice of Korea. This time we present the immortal masterpiece, Where Are You, Dear General?, written by the great leader Kim Jong-il in 1971, when he was kindling the fierce flames of revolution in opera creation. Kim Jong-il created it as the theme song of the revolutionary opera, The Story of a Nurse, in the historic days of guiding its creation. The song is set in the past Fatherland Liberation War. It impressively depicts the pure mentality of soldiers of the People's Army who are determined to firmly believe in only Kim Il-sung and be loyal to him invariably despite any hardships, through the warm inner world of a woman soldier, trying to be embraced in his bosom at any cost, with longing for the supreme command where he is, even in the enemy-held area full of difficulties and ordeals. Now here's trombone solo, A Soldier's Wish.
We now present an account under the title Rich Harvest. The agricultural sector of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea launched a dynamic drive for increased grain production last year, thus successfully hitting the grain production goal set by the Workers' Party of Korea. More than 680 high-yielding farms and over 6,300 high-yielding work teams were produced, which are more than 6 times the number of 2023. Over 20,900 high-yielding sub-book teams and over 65,100 high-yielding farmers were produced, which are more than 11 times the number of 2023. The respected Comrade Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, presented concrete tasks and ways to increase the agricultural productivity in a sustainable
Now here's mixed group singing and male chorus. Oh, the party, as you embrace us. Now here's light music. We pledge to dedicate our life.
Now here is the female sextet, If a Mother Party Wishes.
Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Europe between 15 and 16 hours UTC, between 18 and 19 hours UTC, between 21 and 22 hours UTC, and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 13,760 kHz and 15,245 kHz. For North America, between 15 and 16 hours UTC and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 9,435 kHz and 11,710 kHz. And for Northeast Asia, between 4 and 5 hours UTC and between 6 and 7 hours UTC on 7,220 kHz, 9,445 kHz and 9,730 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.